How do different organisms get energy? Producers. Living things that make their own food are called producers. So producers make their food from materials found in their environments. Most producers are photosynthetic, such as plants. Other producers, including some bacteria, are chemosynthetic. So what do we mean by chemosynthesis? Chemosynthesis is a process during which producers use chemical energy in matter rather than the light energy to make food. So, if producers use chemical energy, we call them chemosynthesis. If producers use light energy to make food, we called them photosynthetic. So photosynthetic for producers who use light energy to make food. Chemosynthesis for producers who use chemical energy to make food. Consumers. Unlike producers, consumers do not produce their own energy-rich food. Instead, they get the energy they need to survive by consuming other organisms. That's why they're called consumers, because they're consuming other organisms rather than make their own food. Consumers can be classified by the type of food that they eat. Consumers classified to herbivores, carnivores, omnivores. Herbivores means feed on only producers, like plants. Carnivores means eat other animals, any type of animals. Omnivores means eat both producers and other consumers. Now, what do you think about this caterpillar? Is it herbivores, omnivores, or carnivores? What do you think? So this caterpillar is an herbivore and eats only plants. So because it eats only plants, which is producers. What about these girls? These girls are omnivores because they eat both producers and other consumers. What about this shark? What do you think? So this shark is carnivore because it eats other animals. Now, yeast in common is unicellular fungus. Watch what happens when yeast is added to a banana. So, try this experiment on your home. Observe and record your observation. What do you think will happen? So, the banana is decomposing. So, you may note that the banana will change its color and its shape. And also, the banana with the yeast decomposed faster than the other banana. And also you might note that the banana will have inflation on the bag. What did you note about the bananas? Why do you think this happens? The bananas were breaking down and decomposing. The one with the yeast decomposed faster because the yeast ate the banana. Now let's watch this video about the decomposers.
They crawl, they live everywhere, and on everyone. They're one of the most important parts of the food chain, and yet many are too small to see. They are the decomposers. When a leaf falls off a tree, or a plant or animal dies, decomposers break them down. This is important for two reasons. First, decomposers clean up dead plant and animal material. Without decomposers, dead leaves and other material would pile up year after year. Second, breaking down dead material frees up stored nutrients. The nutrients go back into the soil and are taken up by new plants. If you've ever seen an earthworm or a mushroom, then you've seen a decomposer. There are also many decomposers you haven't seen because they're too small. Microscopic bacteria are some of the most important decomposers on Earth. Don't look now, but you have microscopic decomposers working on and in your body right now. Scientists estimate that the average human has trillions of bacteria inside his or her digestive system. Most of these are good bacteria that help break down food. They also help your body with other tasks, like making vitamins and keeping out bad bacteria that can make you sick. Millions of types of bacteria on Earth break down many different foods. Bacteria can break down food that's left too long in your kitchen. One type of bacteria can feed on crude oil, the kind of oil used to make gasoline. These oil eaters are used to help clean up oil spills in the ocean. Mushrooms, mildew, and mold are also decomposers. These are all a type of organism called fungi. Although fungi are not plants, they make their own food by breaking down dead plant and animal material. Dead material is their food. Just add air and water and they get to work. Fungi range from microscopic to huge. Different types feed on different materials, from fruits and vegetables, to tree trunks, to plants and animals. If you've ever seen a garden, you've seen the work of one famous decomposer, the earthworm. Worms feed on partially broken down plant and animal material in the soil. They finish the decomposing job and make more nutrients available for plants. As good as an earthworm is at decomposing plants and animals, a redworm is even better. Redworms are also known as composting worms, manure worms, or red wigglers. These 5-inch long worms can eat 3 times their weight in a week. Some insects work as decomposers. Dung beetles eat and live in animal waste, also known as dung. Some dung beetles roll small pieces of dung into large balls, which they bury for snacking on later. When the beetles eat the dung, they break it down and release nutrient-filled waste into the soil. Whether it's a vegetable garden or a piece of moldy bread, you can find signs of decomposers at work. Remember that they're doing important work, keeping nutrients cycling through the food chain.
So after you watch this video, now let's read about detritivores. So detritivores is another group of consumers. Detritivores get their energy by eating the remains of other organisms. So detritivores get their energy by eating the remains of other organisms. Some detritivores, such as bacteria and mushrooms, feed on dead organisms and help break down or decompose them. For this reason, these organisms often are called decomposers, so we call the detritivores as decomposers. The yeast For example, in an activity is a decomposer. During decomposition, decomposers produce carbon dioxide that enters the atmosphere. Some of the decayed matter enters the soil or water. In this way, decomposers help recycle nutrients through ecosystems. They also help keep ecosystems clean. Without decomposers, dead organisms would pile up in an ecosystem. So this mushroom, for example, is an example of decomposers.